The Marvels is directed by Nia DaCosta and stars Brie Larson, Iman Vellani, Samuel L. Jackson, and they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. Here, Captain Marvel is... she's in a new movie with a bunch of girls. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. Yeah, I have no idea what this movie is actually about. Like, I know there's some stuff that's happening. A villain wants a MacGuffin, threatening planets and the heroes are doing this thing and trying to figure this thing out. But I don't know what the end goal really is. I don't know really what these characters were fighting for. I don't know what is their end goal and what they're going to gain by the end of the film and how the story changes them as characters. As a story, this is so empty. I'm surprised that Marvel Studios was able to accept this. This felt like a first draft script. There is nothing here that got me attached to any of the characters or their struggles. At most, Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel is the most likable character and maybe has the most characterization and has some development by the end, but compared to everyone else is just terrible because characterization wise, they are lifeless. I didn't care about what the girl from WandaVision is fighting for, nor do I remember what she was fighting for. I know she had like some struggle and some differences with Miss Marvel that they might have solved, but that felt like I've seen this kind of story before and they do nothing new with it, and it rang so hollow that I forgot about it. And Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson, while a lot better here than in the previous film, I still don't feel attached to her character. I didn't feel any struggle that her character has to go through. And I didn't really feel a good connection between her and the main villain. Mostly because they don't really meet as much or have as much dialogue against each other, or the movie is not trying to connect these characters and put them against each other in interesting ways in both dialogue and action. It mostly does it with action. The action here is so CGI heavy, you become numb to it. It honestly looks incredibly fake. There's just so much CGI, so much special effects happening all at once that the movie starts to feel ugly. And because the amount of CGI it uses, you notice it when it sticks out like a sore thumb. It doesn't have to look realistic, but it has to look interesting. And nothing here looks interesting to look at. None of the planets or the sets look lived in. Everything looks so produced from a factory and lit up so brightly that it honestly feels fake. It was the same problem I had with Thor Love and Thunder and Marvel Studios. Even after Guardians 3 and Loki Season 2, they still managed to do this. They need to fix their lighting problem. They need to fix their production, and they need to fix how they construct these sets because everything is looking fake. At least there are some sets here that are real, but for the most part, it's all drowned out by all this CGI garbage, really. And it's not even that well made anymore. It feels way too rushed and way too fake. Like, I don't understand how this was actually accepted. Not only, as I said, the story was hollow, but the visuals too. There's nothing interesting to look at. And this really does ring more like a Marvel Studios problem rather than a director's problem, because this movie honestly feels like Thor Love and Thunder or maybe a She-Hulk. Like, it has those same problems in that same visual look. Definitely not the director's fault here. The director, Nia DaCosta, is just doing whatever the studio says, and it doesn't feel like she put any of her own stamp and vision. really, it was Marvel Studios who directed this. And I wish that we were back in the days when, despite Marvel Studios are putting their own signatures into these films, mostly just to help connect this story to Infinity War and Endgame, directors like Jon Favreau or James Gunn or the Russo brothers are still able to put their own stamps and visual looks and feel to many of these films, which is why movies like Ant-Man or Captain America's Winter Soldier or Iron Man or The Incredible Hulk, they all still feel different from one another. Despite taking place in the same universe, they still feel like incredibly different films going for different genres. And it seems like now Marvel Studios not interested in differentiating these stories and having them feel unique or interesting anymore. It just feels way too much like it was churned out in a factory, and I didn't really care for it. I don't really enjoy picking apart Marvel. I love Marvel and its characters, but lately, despite a few bright spots here and there, they're just turning out soulless cash grabs just to expand the universe in less interesting ways now. And I'm starting to get disinterested of the Kang storyline, where actually I feel like now, especially after this and Echo, I think I'm just going to skip some stuff and only watch the stuff I'm going to be interested in. Because despite me wanting to see everything, even if it is bad, I just don't care as much. At most, I'll probably just think about
She's targeting every planet we call.
Watch this stuff day one, because that's what I did with the Marvels. I just waited until it went to streaming, and even then, I still felt like I was robbed. Overall, this movie is really bad. Like, I don't recommend this at all. There's a few bright spots here with Iman Vellani's character. Captain Marvel as a character is a little bit more entertaining here. There are some interesting visuals here in space, but for the most part, this is a gigantic mess that I do not recommend. I'm going to give the Marvels a D-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.